we developed the world's first drinking straws from fallen coconut leaves, which otherwise would be burnt. So on one side, we are preventing the burning of coconut leaves, we are eliminating the use of single-use plastic, and more importantly, we are also providing consistent incomes to women in rural areas.
You can now say no to plastic and use the world's first straws made from dried coconut leaves. Hello, you're watching It's All Plastic, episode 12. This Bengaluru-based startup can help you ditch plastic straws and take sips to a greener future. Sunbird-Straws is sustaining the world one dry leaf at a time. Not just straws, the startup is also making eco-friendly pens made from dried coconut leaves. To discuss this brilliant innovation in detail, we're in conversation with the educationist turned entrepreneur himself, Professor Saji Varghese. I'm extremely thrilled to speak to you today. News with Navya recently did a story on Sunbird-Straws, and the reaction from our audience was amazing. I've been waiting to speak to you since then, and also the fact that what both of us have in common is Christ University. It just makes me immensely proud to see Sunbird-Straws grow.
So I'm also immensely proud that you are a Christite, and I can see that News with Navya is really contributing, immensely to the cause of environment.
Sunbird-Straws is making headlines everywhere. People are loving the products, and I'm a big fan too. Can you tell us what led to this innovation, and why did you think it was important to have an eco-friendly alternative to plastic straws?
I'm a teacher of English at Christ University, but then you cannot escape from the harsh realities that you see all around you. So then you start asking questions to yourself. I always wanted to know whether I can contribute a little more, either to support the cause of environment or to do something for the marginalized communities. So that led me to the path of innovations. And when this entire talk of plastic becoming such a scourge to our environment came up, I always wanted to see whether we could do something about it. And then all of that led me to see whether we could do something. And I saw these fallen coconut leaves, and it just struck me, why not try making straws out of it? And long story short is that we developed the world's first drinking straws from fallen coconut leaves, which otherwise would be burnt. Which would have led to a lot of carbon dioxide emissions. So on one side, we are preventing the burning of coconut leaves, we are eliminating the use of single-use plastic, and more importantly, we are also providing consistent incomes to women in rural areas. So pretty excited about all this.
Lovely. So Sunbird-Straws is indeed solving a lot of problems at once. For the benefit of our audience, sir, could you tell us a little bit about the process of making eco-friendly straws from dried coconut leaves, and what is the impact that plastic has on the environment, which is why something like this became a brilliant innovation?
Yeah, so the world was always looking for an alternative to single-use plastic straws. The US alone uses almost like 500 million straws each single day. So you can imagine the humongous numbers of plastic straws that go into the oceans. I think you yourself have been educating of how these straws and the plastic straws are made, right? Ultimately, it's a petroleum product. So you can imagine the kind of carbon footprint it leaves right from its cradle to its grave. So against that backdrop, the process of our straws significantly is that it's an absolutely chemical-free process. During my research, I found out that these fallen leaves have their own natural wax, and we did an entire 5-month project on to study the epicuticular wax content on a coconut leaf, and we found out that its phenolic compounds is actually healthy. Even our technology uses very little power, and the good news I can give you is that even the power that we need for our production is now solar powered.
One of the best features of these straws that I can say as a consumer is that they don't get soggy in drinks and in liquids. Exactly. That I think has been a big problem with something like a paper straw for the longest time. So Sunbird recently won the Sustainability Leadership Award, and a big congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Could you tell us what this recognition means to you and the larger problem that you're trying to solve?
The very fact that we were selected for this award actually is a validation of the fact that we have been trying to very sincerely contribute to the cause of sustainability to start off. But then it's an award not for this innovation per se, but I think it's an award for our entire team, which worked meticulously for days and days to develop the technology. And most importantly, the 86 women who are working with us for the past 3 years and their families. I think it's an award for all of them. And I'm just happy that I could initiate this, but it would not have gone anywhere without this brilliant team working behind.
I also want to know sustainability initiatives often require a balance between environmental impact and economic viability. How do you think Sunbird Straws has been able to make itself profitable while also maintaining the commitment towards sustainability and environment?
I would be very happy to answer that because it's a very pragmatic approach that we who are in the entire business of sustainability have to be very very realistic about, because we cannot expect businesses or individuals to adopt our products or whatever innovation that you bring just because it has a sustainability story at the back of it. Because at the end of it, for them also the entire the financial viability of whatever they are doing, it's important. We cannot say that you just have to be magnanimous and start shelling out more money, because at least a product like ours, it's more B2B. We cater to the hotels and beverage chains, and we can know that for each of these businesses to stay in the business, they have to be very alert on their economics and their commercials. So we were very pragmatic. So what and at the same time, for us, the sustainability aspect or the social impact aspect was something which we could not compromise. So how to strike a balance? So we adopted the best approach was to upgrade our technology. So when we upgrade the technology, we could increase our productivity, bring down the cost of production, and reach a wider market more competitively. And at the same time, because we were basing all our production centers in the villages, we had to ensure that the women were also earning decent, substantial incomes and on a consistent basis. So ours is actually a product where we can upgrade the technology and yet bring more people to work. Because the kind of numbers our straws are in demand now. In fact, for the next 6 months, we have an order to the tune of 2.6 million straws across 10 countries. So that is a good news for us, because then we have this leeway to go on upgrading our technology so that the women can meet the growing demand. So what we are trying to do is we want to bring down the cost of production. As of now, with our old technology, we were our cost of production was around 1 rupee 24 paisa. Now we have developed a conveyor system. So with our first generation machine, which are tabletop machines, we were rolling out straws at the rate of 45 seconds per straw. So that would be slightly on the higher side in terms of cost of production. But now I'm very happy and proud of our technology team that we have now this conveyor system where we can roll out straws at the rate of 2 seconds per straw. So that's a huge difference. And we have been able to bring down the cost of production to 90 paisa. With some more upgradation in the peripherals, we'll be bringing it down to 60 paisa.
While we do know that people around the world, as you said, with the growing number of orders that Sunbird Straws is receiving, people around the world are big fans of your products. They're loving it. I also want to know, Sunbird Straws is not just making 100% biodegradable straws, but also eco-friendly pens now. What led you to start this innovation, and how are these pens different from the regular pens that are available in the market?
Correct. Yeah. So I would say it was actually a vertical innovation of the straw itself. So as we were getting orders from multiple beverage and hotel chains, we have an 8 gateway test protocols before we pass a straw to be sent out. So we have a very high quality check at our level. So Chirag was in charge of the quality check, and Sandeep in charge of the production. And one day when Sandeep came back from the production center, he saw that Chirag had rejected 36,000 straws at his own level. So Sandeep was kind of very wild. He said, we spent so much money on getting the straws made. We pay the women, so you cannot just reject. So Chirag is adamant that if it doesn't pass my quality check, I don't pass it. And then it was Sandeep's idea, who said that we cannot waste these straws. We had the 8 straws and the 6 straws. And it was Sandeep who came up with the idea that we need to do something about it. And it was he who came up with this whole idea of converting these straws into pens. So actually, it's a vertical innovation. It's a combination of a 6 and 8 straws that gave birth to these wonderful pens. Two things about these pens are, I have to accept that the refill is still plastic. And of a pen is still plastic. So I wouldn't say that it is 100% biodegradable, but we are trying to build a system of reclaiming the used pens so that we can dispose the plastic refills more efficiently. We have a system around it, deploying it in educational institutions. That's one part of it. Still, what we can claim is that we have avoided 96% of the plastic which you would use in a normal plastic pen.
Okay.
So that's one part of it. So one might ask a question: why should we buy your 15 rupee pen when we can get pen at 8 and 10 rupees of plastic pen? So my argument would be that when you buy a plastic pen, maybe you got it for 10 rupees, but then you dispose it on the planet to keep on harming the environment for 700 years.
Yeah.
On the other hand, when you buy a pen, first of all, 96% of the plastic gets avoided. Moreover, these pens are made by women in the rural areas. They assemble the components. And so even those women who cannot go out for a regular 8-hour job, we give them these components and they can assemble a pen in 2 minutes. So these women roll out the pens from the comfort of their homes and they get good incomes, decent incomes. So in fact, the pens that we have recently brought out all are made by women in Udupi. So when you buy maybe a 15 rupee pen from us, maybe you are shelling out 5 rupees extra, but you are reducing 96% of the plastic. Plus, you are supporting somebody in the rural areas to have some sort of decent incomes.
As a professor at Christ University, how do you think the youth can be encouraged to fight against plastic waste and the plastic crisis, and how do you think the university is also supporting them?
Right. So to answer your first question, I would go to the extent of saying that compared to us who are in our 50s, I think you youngsters are very, very proactive, very conscious for the cause of environment. So I think you're already there. Not that you need to be motivated. I think it's our generation that needs to be motivated to become more sensitive. So I'm proud of the youth that is all around me, and particularly when I see at Christ University. So that's one part of it. Second, Christ University is very, very proactive. We have Christ for Climate Action, and then under the guidance of our Vice Chancellor Father Jose, I have created a platform called Desi. Desi is Design and Innovation for Social Entrepreneurship. So we take up a lot of startup ideas, which is for the cause of environment and also for social impact. So it's actually after the regular college hours that Desi gets into action. And you would be surprised that 136 students are proactive members of Desi who come after the college hours. And of course, I don't give them attendance. If attendance is such a big thing. We don't give attendance. I don't give any certificates. I don't give any credits for this course. If the joy of trying to make some sort of an impact, positive, meaningful impact, can motivate you to be there, you can be there. In fact, there are more than 500 students who want to be a part of this. So that goes on to show that youth is very, very proactive, and Christ University gives us the very conducive platform to convert our ideas into action for the cause of environment.
Talking about women employment, Sunbird, as you mentioned, also employs women from rural parts of South India to produce the drinking straws. Could you tell us more about this, and what is the kind of impact that Sunbird-Straws has on local communities in terms of where you source coconuts from and where you produce the straws?
Right. To understand that, now we have to explain our business model. We have a hub and spoke model of production. So spokes are where the leaves get processed, and then the processed leaves are brought to the central hub that again is in a closer vicinity where the actual straw gets made. Now, why we have adopted this model are for two reasons. One is that we wanted to cut down our cost on logistics. If you have to transport an entire frond to a central location, we would be, and then almost 40% of that would not be useful for us. So we would be unnecessarily spending money on logistics. That was one reason. But the major reason was that if the coconut farms are spread across coastal India. They are in a scattered way. So we thought that if we can deploy our leaf cleaning machines and our leaf processing machines in those spokes, the women in the adjoining areas who live in the vicinity can come, and they can come, so they don't have to walk for more than 5 minutes. So that was one of our criteria, that none of the women who have to come to a Sunbird straw production center should not have to walk, not even commute by a bus or anything, more than 5 minutes. And that's exactly where we have been very successful with. While providing employment to women is, of course, a very positive thing, we were conscious that though all the talk that we do, women still have to manage the household chores. they have to take care of all the responsibilities. So this factor is very important. Their place of work is very close to their homes. In fact, at all our places, the women go back home for lunch, take rest, and then come back to work. And if there are smaller kids, the mothers can go and fetch their kids from school. So that's the kind of atmosphere that we have created for them. And they all come, and that's why all these 86 women are with us for the past 2.5 years. None of them have left our production center. That itself is a testimony to the fact that they are absolutely happy working with us. The second aspect is, at least I know these two places where these women who are now working with us never had an opportunity to find employment for themselves. So, and so this our production centers of Sunbird-Straws became a huge boon to them, that very close to their homes they could find work with a consistent income. Again, this is very important, that ours is a non-harvest based product. It's made from leaves, which is available throughout the year. So we can give them consistent incomes. All of these factors are very small but very significant. And then at least I know one woman in Bannur, because we have been paying them regularly. She could avail a home loan, and she has made a beautiful house in Bannur, and we were invited for the housewarming ceremony 2 months back. So this is the kind of an impact. So what we have realized is that if women have more disposable incomes, they really focus, because again, a sad fact that many of these women, their husbands are abusive, violent. There are several stories. If women have this financial power with them, they make more constructive decisions for their family, and upgrade the overall standard of living. So that's what our focus has been. So in fact, 98% of our employees are women in the rural areas of India.
That's why we say, when you empower a woman, you empower the entire family. And I think that is really important.
Very
and
true.
Just to have that surety of income, timely income, being able to take decisions like, your child's education, or as you mentioned, to get a home loan and build a home. I think this is the kind of impact we're talking about, not just the impact on consumers, but I think a lot of startups, a lot of companies tend to ignore the fact that the kind of impact it's creating on the people working for them, working in the company, is really important. So I think that's brilliant to know. Sunbird-Straws are everywhere, as we've talked about, from Colonel's Beachside Resort in Goa to Beyond Berg in Bangalore. How does it feel to be supported by so many businesses and trusted by so many businesses across the country?
Navya, honestly, you realize that for a mission like what we started off, we are more helped than we help people, I would say. So so all along, without the support, let's say, like with people like you, who tell our story abroad, and bring a visibility to us, or let's say, the many companies like HDFC Bank or Swiss Re, or Selco Foundation, even government agencies like Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Agriculture, they all have chipped in and have helped this cause to move forward. So we just become one small element in this entire journey together that we do, and we spread a lot of happiness around. So yeah, we are happy, but what we always try to remember is that it's not just because of our effort alone, but because so many people around have all pitched in with their might. But then I think hats off to the team of youngsters at Sunbird-Straw, who have been working day and night. In fact, this machine that they went yesterday and deployed in Kasaragod. In fact, last 3 weeks they have been working for more than 17, 18 hours. In fact, 2-3 days they were sleeping at the fabrication center itself. So words fail to actually fully explain the kind of passion and commitment with which our team is working. So I would give a big salute to my young team. I'm happy to tell you that we have onboarded all the children of the women who are working with us. So yeah, there are around 38 children as of now. And I'm again very proud that 75 students from Christ University have volunteered to teach them communication skills online, because they cannot anyways go. And in fact, Christ University students have brought out a short story book, and the stories are written by Christites. It's beautifully illustrated. I'll share that with you. And that is going to be used as a textbook for the children of the women who are working with us to learn English. And in fact, we also have this program where we felicitate the children of the women who are doing really well. So I teach English to them on weekends. So this is the larger and more crucial aspect of what we are doing. I think if we can give creative quality education to the child in the remotest corner of our country, and that will have a cascading effect of building a positive society, a positive environment.
So, how do you see the future of sustainable products? And what advice would you give to eco conscious entrepreneurs around the world, around the country, who are looking to start a business with a strong environmental focus?
Right. So in terms of the future of products like these, I think we have already, everyone is now very well aware of the mess that we have already created with all this single disposables, the so-called luxurious living. It has created such a mess that if we don't act now, I think it's already too late, I would say. But then it's better late than never, right? We always say the best time to plant a tree was 200 years back. The second best time is now. So the second best time is now, and I see a very bright future for anyone who is focused on building a sustainable product and want to the entrepreneurs who want to enter into the sustainability product and the market. I would say the time is right. They should go for it. At the same time, as you also emphasize, there has to be a lot of honesty about what they are doing. And just because there's a hype around sustainability, you just cannot go on greenwashing and trying to sell your product. There has to be a lot of honesty about what you want to do. It is very much possible that when you want to bring in a product, it cannot be 100% this or 100% that, but at least even if it is 90%, it is still contributing. India being a country with so much of a rural base, we do have innovative solutions for the global challenges. But then when they do so, what I would very strongly recommend is that we should ensure that you are not exploiting the illiterate masses from whom you might be getting your product done. So you have to be very transparent with them as well. So you have to be fair in your practices, both at the back end and the front end. And I think they have a great future.
Absolutely. I think it was amazing to speak to you today, sir. The story of Sunbird-Straws is truly very, very inspiring. And the future looks great for the startup, I'm sure. It's also amazing to speak to you because the amount of passion and the amount of honesty you show when you talk about the products that Sunbird-Straws is creating and how the team is functioning speaks volumes about what you're trying to do and how you're trying to solve the problem. So thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to me today.
Thank you very much, Navya, for asking all those questions so that we could tell more about what we are doing at Sunbird-Straws. And all the best to you as well. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to share all this with the audience.